Today, I am transforming Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon in 4 incredible styles. The 4 styles I'll be doing in today's video are Drip, Cracked, Torn, and Realistic. Let's start off with the Drip effect. I decided not to do the cartoon effect because I want the overall piece to have a realistic feel to it. I want each piece to kind of feel like it fits as its own individual puzzle piece in the overall portrait. I did, however, change the overall coloring that I would normally do on a drip effect with this particular side. I gave them a bit more of a loose coloring. This way, it kind of gives the drips a little bit more of a realistic feel to them, a little bit more translucence to them. And before we finish this section, if you could please do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a lot and lets YouTube know that you really like this content, and I think you'll love the rest of this piece. And now, let's continue on as we go on to the Cracked effect. I really like the Cracked effect. This was something that I came up with as an idea when I used to do name art, and what I was essentially doing is doing people's names in fun, different graffiti kind of styles, and I came up with a new one of kind of making it look like cracked stone. I wanted it to be something new. So then I applied that to a couple of different drawings, and I just absolutely love the way this effect comes out. If done correctly, the character will wind up looking like a piece of cracked marble or stone, and you get these wonderful little cracks. You get all these little spiderweb crack lines that just come out of it, and it looks just really cool. It's a really unique effect, and with a little bit of practice, you can actually make this effect yourself. It's not that actually hard. It's more about just practice and studying. I think it's actually one of the most easily done effects. It just requires also the tools. I use a very fine line for all the little crack markers, but if you only have Poscas and you want to do characters in Posca style and then just take some cracked lines over the top, it'll come out just as awesome. Once again, I am going a little bit heavier on the detail than I normally do. That's because the character is highly rendered, so I do want to make sure that we add all of the details, such as the eyeball, to make it look as realistic as possible, because we want it to feel real. We want it to feel like it fits as the character itself. If it was a little bit more on the bold cartoon side, it might not fit. Let's add all these little lines and finish up with all the little details as we move on to the Torn effect. Now for the Torn effect, we want it to look like basically one of the dragons has gotten to Hiccup and scratched him away. How I achieve this effect, if you want to try this at home, is basically line my fingers up where I want the character to look like they're scratched away, erase away the lines, and then just sketch in basically some squiggle lines. You don't want it to be straight. Any kind of claw mark or any kind of scratch is going to have little bumps and rivets along it. It's not going to be clean. It's not going to be neat. Again, we're going to be applying a lot more realism than we normally would, but that's just because the character is realistic. I do change the coloring slightly on each side because I just want to add a different flair to it. I do have one very important question. If you got to this particular part in the video, let me know what's your favorite moment in the original series, and are you hoping that they bring that moment back in the new movie? With the effect complete, Hiccup's been torn away, and now we move on to the realistic side. If you're new to the channel, realism is something that I love to always kind of save for last, either that or horror, and that's because, one, they require the most detail. This whole particular quadrant took about 3.5 to 4 hours. The rest of the piece took about the same time, and that's because there is a lot more detail that goes into adding, and there's actually a lot of editing that you'll see that I just kind of did away because I didn't want this whole section to be like half the video. As you can see, there's different techniques for achieving higher levels of realism. So for the eyeball, I added a little bit of alcohol marker, but I also added inks. For the hair, I'm going to work a lot of gray inks over the top first because Hiccup's hair is very, very dark brown, but it has lots of blacks and lots of whites. So to achieve this, we're going to have to first do all the skin underneath, so that way when we do the hair over the top, it doesn't look like a helmet on top of his head. And another thing is, find your highlight lines. His highlight lines in his hair are right in the middle of his head, so I almost want to leave the white of the paper. And I say almost because we're going to work over with all these little individual color pencil lines, and that's how we're going to get all that beautiful coloring. Now, you might be thinking that's white, he's not gray-haired. That's true, but when we add the color pencil over the top, it blends it out, and it gives it these smooth color pencils. It gives you these nice, beautiful lines. So this wraps up this video. Which was your favorite? Was it the realistic, the crack, the torn, or the drip? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all for stopping by, and I'll see you all in the next video.